Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. So today I'm having a bit of a mixed media play. I'm making some tags. So I'm still working on my Oceanic adventure journal. So I wanted to make some tags with sort of like a bit of sort of texture behind them. So we got a real nice sort of like old chipped flaky wood on here. That's the sort of thing that I'm aiming for. And I wanted to make some tags like this. To go in the journal, so it looks like sort of like old wood and a lovely sort of textured background. I've got a couple of brads in there. I've just got a little eyelet in there with some string coming out, a little bit of cheesecloth on there, one of my embellishments from the kit as well. So I just wanted to show you how I got the background because I'm absolutely loving this. It looks really good. Now what I have been using, I've got here, which is some relief paste, so you can use any relief paste. This is the Cadence one, and this one here as well, which is a relief paste, and this is sort of like supposed to look like concrete. So if you wanted anything to look like concrete, that's what it looks like. It's almost to look like fibers and stuff in it as well. So I just picked these up. I'll pop the site. It's a Spanish site. So if any of you are in Europe, you can go to that. They're really good. And this is a crackle effect texture paste. This is the Tim Holtz Distress one. So that's really nice as well. So that's what I have been using on it, on these. And also the colours that I've used ink-wise is the oxide sprays, which is pine needles. I've used chipped sapphire. We've got weathered wood. And I've got old paper. So they're the sort of colours, because they're the sort of colours that I use to dye the cheesecloth with as well. And I've also used a little bit of this, which is the embossing powder. So this is one that I've had for years and years. This is called silver tinsel. So if you've got any sort of like silver embossing powder as well, which I've just added in there just to give a little bit of sparkle. So that's what it comes out like, and I'm loving them. I have put these onto watercolor paper. This is the first one I did, and it's really sort of bendy, and I just did this on card, so it's not really very good on card. You want a little bit of watercolor paper because it sort of like soaks in the ink as well. And this one is sort of like a little bit bendy. I probably cut this up and use it on little bits of embellishment on there, so I'm not going to throw that away. But these are just, this one I popped embossing powders on, and this one I haven't. I've just done it in the blues. So I'm going to show you, I've got some here which I'm going to show you how to ink in a minute because they're dry. But I'm going to just show you how simple it is just to randomly add the textured paints and the relief paste. So all as I did, let me just take the lid off. I've got my little sort of spatula thingy-majiggy here, and what I've done, I've just taken this and I just go over it just randomly. Now on this one I sewed around the edges, so if you want to do some sewing on it, don't get the paste and stuff around the edges. Like on this one I've tried to sort of like keep it in the middle, so if you wanted to sew around it, it makes it a lot easier to do. Then you're not going to get stuck in your sewing machine needle. So I'm just going to add some paste to here, just a little bit, doesn't have to be perfect. Pop the lid back on this one, and then I've got a little bit of this one, which is sort of like the concrete one. This is almost feels like it's got sand and sort of like fibers in it. Now you don't have to have it too thick, but I'm just popping it on just randomly. Now again, you probably don't need to use all of these, but I think it gives a really good effect. If you've only got some relief paste, just use relief paste, or if you've only got sort of like bits of or the crackle paste, you can just sort of like use that as well. I'm just going to dab that about, just give a little bit of texture like that, because it only needs to be in the middle because we can ink around there, so you'll still see it. So I'm just going to leave that like that. Let me just get a piece of tissue. want to wipe this off so it's clean. I'm going to just give it a quick blast with my heat gun just before I put the crackle paste on. So 2 seconds. Okay, so that's just a little bit dry. Then I'm going to just add the crackle paste to it as well, just so we've got a little bit on here. Let's just pop that on. So I do believe that sort of like the thicker you go, the different sort of crackle effects you get. So I'm just going to take a bit. So if you've got a thinner layer, then you get a different, it either gets big cracks or little cracks. I'm not quite sure. So you just need to sort of experiment. So let's just pop another little bit down here. I've gone quite thick on here, which you don't have to. I really want to get the texture into these tags. Now I'm going to just give it another quick blast with the heat gun, just to show you the little cracks coming through if you've not used it before. Okay, so I don't know whether you can actually see the cracks coming through. They're just coming through, but all down here. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave these to dry. Leave them for a little while to dry. So that's why I've done these. You can see the crackling on there, I hope. You can see it looks really, really nice. And then this one, I think the thicker you put it on, the sort of like the bigger the cracks, because that's on quite thin. And they're tiny little sort of like cracks in it on there, so that's probably why. So I'm just going to pop these to the side so that they can dry and I can do those later. So I'm going to do, let's do this one for now. Now I'm just going to, what did I do? I'm just going to wet it now, just a little bit. All of this is water in here. Just so that the ink will run just a little bit better. So just give it a little spritz. This is a lovely bottle. This is what I had for my mum. She had some, it still smells of lavender. It had lavender in it that I spray her bed before she goes to bed, and it's all nice and relaxing. So that's the bottle I have now. It's finished, and I thought I can't throw it away because it's really lovely. Right, so I am just popping a little bit of ink on there, and you can see here where it's just hitting the cracks, and I think it looks really, really lovely. So let's just add a little bit more, water down there. Pop this underneath. So I think it looks really nice. I don't want it too dark. So I'm going to go for this one. So that one was the chipped sapphire, and then I'm going to pop a little bit of the weathered wood on there. Now you can spritz it if you want to, but I tend to make such a mess when I do that. So let's just bit at the top, bit through here, and I'm just loving the little touch of silver embossing powders in there. I think it looks really, really nice. So I'm going to quickly dry that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit of the green in there as well. You can just dab some of that off. Just going to add a little bit of this, which is the old paper on here. So let's just add just a little bit down the side, just to bring a little bit of the sort of green into it, just down here. So they are so simple to do, and it's just adding a little bit of ink, a tiny bit of water on there. I think that looks so nice. Quick dry again. Just dab a little bit of that off. So I think these are looking really nice, and you can just see, I hope you can see, I've focused properly, how it all goes into the little cracks and everything, and it makes it look all sort of like golden, weathered. So I'm loving them. And then it's just, see, once it's on watercolour paper, it doesn't really warp very much. So once it's dry, I did put this one under a book just to flatten it just a little bit. And what I've done, I've just popped some tea stain paper, coffee or tea stain paper on the back of it as well. I'll pop the brads in first, and then I pop the tea stain paper and sewed around it, and then I just embellished it. So I'm loving it. So I'm going to leave that one to the side, and then we can just do this one. I think what we'll do with this one, I'm just going to give it a quick spritz with this. Pop that one out of the way, just so we've got a little bit wet, so the ink will run a little bit better. Pop these down here. Down. This was obviously whatever journal you're doing, even if you don't have to be doing a C one, you can do all this in any different colours. I just think it just blends so well with the greens and the blues. Let's add a little bit of this to it. Just gorgeous. Now I'm going to try to leave a little bit of white on this one. You don't have to cover everything up. I think sometimes it looks nicer when you've got a little bit of white on there, which I tend to sort of like cover everything up. So that's something I need to learn, is you don't have to, you can leave white patches. So I'm just going to quickly dry this. There we go. I think that looks lovely, so I hope you can see all the textures and the colours in there. I think it looks really, really lovely. So I'm loving these. This one here again, it's got the little embossing powders on there, but I think they look great, and that's what they look like, sort of like when it's all embellished. Now I've got a few of my little things here. Now look at this lovely little turtle, doesn't he look gorgeous? So that would look really nice on here. I've got another one of my little round portholes, which would look nice on there. A couple of the little snippets that I made, so just pop those onto there. So I think that's lovely. These I've actually printed on tea stain paper. Now this is what they would normally come out like. So that's the difference in the colour, because that's a little turtle on there. And I'm quite liking this paper because it looks quite nice just with the white, like on this one. It looks really nice. So there we go, guys, that's what I have been up to this morning. So I'm going to leave those. I'm going to finish these off. I'm going to finish off these ones here that we were doing, and then in the next video I will be embellishing them, adding all the little bits on here so you can see how I've done it. So there we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're going to give it a go. So you can just get, if you've got any textured paste, just use what you've got on the back. And even if you've got some embossing powder, you can just do some embossing on the back with a little bit of inking and a bit of stamping, just to get a little bit of texture on the back of them. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time when we will be adding a little bit of embellishments to them. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.